Protea Hotel by Marriott Entebbe. Comfort and luxury at its best are our sponsors. Please check them out on Entebbe Highway, right in the middle of Entebbe town, next to the airport. They have very, very beautiful services. You're welcome to Issues at Hand this morning. My name is Nowamani, and we are here to still bring you the issues that are affecting us socially, economically, politically, spiritually, and every other issue you might think about in your communities. Today, I'm going to talk about taxes. Now, taxes are a core source of revenue for the government to fund the provision of public services and the day-to-day running of the nation. Now, however, taxes become fundamentally flawed and retrogressive whenever they hinder access to essential commodities necessary for the realization of basic human rights, and especially most of the vulnerable members of the community, such as infants and the elderly. Now, the 2023-2024 national budget passed by Parliament and read by the Minister of Finance on June 15th contained a resource envelope of 52.7 trillion shillings, of which 27.4 trillion shillings is supposed to be collected from taxes. Now, therefore, the Uganda Revenue Authority, through the Tax Ministry of Finance, proposed a number of tax amendments presented in the tax amendment bills on the excise duty, import duty, income tax, and value-added tax for the primary purpose of increasing tax collection. Now, of course, we are going to take a look at some of the taxes that were amended then and the increment of some of these taxes. And in studio with me is Lorna Nagawa, a legal officer, and Solomon Chisache, a legal officer from the Women in Pro Bono Initiative. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
You're very welcome to the show. Let's start with Solomon. Tell us about the Women Pro Bono Initiative.
Good morning, our viewers. The Women's Pro Bono Initiative is a non-profit organization where we basically offer legal aid to women. Specifically, we look at them. We would want to term it as a marginalized demographic, but we help them and give them legal aid, basically to help them with their court issues, but equally because it's their right. They're entitled to justice and having proper legal help from anyone. So we give it to them at a free cost. We do not charge them. So we also do some other kind of work apart from the legal aid. We promote other sexual and reproductive rights among women. So basically, that's the kind of work we do.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. How long have you done this work for?
We started in July 2018. So if you're to look at the years up to now, those are 5 years. Yes.
And how has it been so far? Do you see any impact on
Yes,
society?
the impact is there because we also note it down in our annual reports. We do put it down, but equally we have projects, for example, in Chigo and Luzira Prison, where we offer free legal aid to these to the inmates. So we've seen a lot of prisoners come out, but equally we've also had cases where we've helped women who have been who are working in the diaspora, for example, in the Middle East countries, and we've been able to help them come back home and have a better life back in the country.
Thank you.
Yes.
The tax regime on diapers this financial year is perhaps one of the major highlights of the 2023-2024 budget, and a clear example of retrogressive taxation. Do you agree with that?
Yes, it's a major highlight because there are key bits of it that now affect the kind of interest, the people we are dealing with, our interest group, that is the women. So we find it a very key issue to look at and also focus on as an organization. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Lorna Nagawa. Lorna, do you think that this? First of all, tell us about the tax that was imposed on diapers.
Thank you so much, and good morning, viewers. So, in May, earlier this year, in a bid to increase our financial base as a country, Parliament proposed the value-added tax amendment bill. And when you look at Section 8A of this tax, of the amendment bill, it proposes a tax of 18% on all kinds of diapers. Now, it does not it does not exempt the baby diapers, because predominantly these diapers have been used by babies, but it encompasses the baby diapers and the adult diapers. And what does that mean? It means that a diaper that has been costing, for example, I'll say 700 shillings, will now cost roughly 1,000. At most. And the reasons that Parliament, and when you look at the Hansard, the parliamentary record, they say that these diapers are luxury goods. They are something that we can do without. Now, I understand we have a history as a country of improvising. We're really a creative country. We improvise a lot. So the reasoning has been these are luxury goods, and we are at a time where our country needs an economic boost. So why not tax these luxury goods? After all, people have other options. We have the traditional nappies and things of that sort.
Okay, thank you. So do you think what are the implications of these taxes, especially on the elderly and the women?
Thank you once again. So when you look at this tax, as I'd said, you know, the general rules of economics, once you increase a tax on something, it's going to eventually increase its price. And when you look at, we will specifically settle with the adult diapers, because we are rejecting this tax on adult diapers, because we believe and we know that it is not a luxury. You know, something that you have to use even as an adult, that means you cannot avoid it. It is part of you in your entire life. And the implication of this tax is we are going to have a price increment on these diapers. And when you look at the records from the health workers, they tell us that women, especially women that have suffered irreparable tears when giving birth, and then you cannot just suit back into your normal self, they usually use these diapers to go about their daily activities. Now, you will look at a woman that has given birth to probably 6 children, she suffered all these irreparable tears, and she's not going to be able to go back to work. Why? Now she can no longer afford these diapers. In an event that she was using 3 of these diapers a day, so to have a normal day and to have her confidence up there, you realize that she's now going to have like 2 or 1. Why? Because the prices have now increased. She can no longer afford getting all the diapers that she needs. So it's going to affect the economic viability of women. And when you look at our constitution, we really prioritize rights of women and affirmative action. And I must say that we've achieved thus far. You see, the women's rights movement, we've seen progress. Now, when we have this tax, it's going to retrogress. It's going to take us back by over 5 steps. Now, because a woman that has been able to go into her workspace with confidence and she has built her career, is not going to be able to do the same. And then also the other implication, we realize that most of these, another section of people that have been affected by this tax are the elderly. Our mothers, our fathers. I've not seen a lot of retirement homes in Uganda, but you realize that we live with these people in our homes. And, you know, in our country, the predominant care role is prescribed for women. So you realize that if I am staying with my mother-in-law, she's having this problem, she has no bowel control, she's going to need these diapers on a daily. A woman who has been able to get up and work, care for the elderly in her family, quickly get back to work and go about the duties and build this nation, is not going to be able to do the same. Because first of all, it's going to become more expensive, and if you choose to stay home to care for them, the work is going to become really hectic. So those are some of the implications. It's going to affect the confidence of women, the economic viability of women, and before we know it, we're going to have a generation of women that we've struggled not to eliminate all these years. So it's going to really take us back. Okay.
Solomon, do you have anything to say about how it will affect the general welfare in women?
Yes. Basically, also, if you're to look at the mental health of the ladies, it's going to cause a big breakdown in their mental health. For example, the World Health Organization released a report recently where it was stating that it's very crucial to give such women a right to proper health care. So you're looking at them going into self-isolation, having a mental breakdown, and also getting diseases such as skin infections. So this also causes a big issue for them as ladies. So we need to think about their mental health as well. And just as Lorna said, also the UN really emphasizes the fact, the principles on the older persons, that they're entitled to a good health care. They have a right to proper health care. So it's very crucial to make sure that they have these diapers at an affordable rate that they can afford, and increasing this tax or putting this tax on these diapers really affects the older people.
Okay.
Yes.
Shouldn't we be, Lorna, shouldn't we be fighting for the tax to be taken off completely, not even to be increased?
Yes, actually, that is our aim, and it's a priority right now at the Women's Pro Bono. We want this tax completely removed, because in as much as the reasons that our parliamentarians are giving, that we need to widen our financial base, we can really find other ways of increasing our finances as a country without necessarily infringing on the rights of a woman. Because when you look at the past years, these diapers have been exempted from tax because they've been in the category of medical goods. So if we've been able to survive before, I'm sure we will find other ways. And besides, when you look at the sexual reproductive health and rights of women in this country, they're already infringed upon. You realize that a few women are able to find affordable health services, affordable family planning services. So generally, our health is not that good. So by imposing this tax, it is further going to affect women that have already been affected, and that is why we really need this tax to be completely scrapped.
Solomon, the money that they have increased is not too much, because if you were buying a diaper at 700 shillings and now you're buying it at 1,000 shillings, the difference is not too much. Don't you think maybe we should just let it be?
The difference to you might not be too much, but to, let me say, a lady who comes from my home district in Nuuka, that is a lot, 300 shillings. So it differs, and it depends on where you are. Yes, the inequalities that we have. For example, if you're able to afford 700, my source of income might not be the same, and I might not be able to afford even the 1,000 or the 700 shillings. So we still feel that 300 is a lot for a lady down in the village, a marginalized lady that cannot even afford the basic needs of her home or basic needs for her family. So we feel it's really, really a lot, and we feel the government should just maintain it at that price, since it's an essential good.
Okay.
Yes.
Lorna, Parliament was of the view that, it was led by the presumption that these diapers are luxury goods. Do you agree with them, and how unfair are they being?
You know, when we are to get to the correct English definition of a luxury, something you can't do without, something that is, it is not an essential, it is not basic. Now, when you look at a person who uses these diapers for life, like they have a permanent condition. Last week we were honored to host a press conference at our office, and we hosted a lady who cares for children with spina bifida and hydrocephalus diseases. Maybe for our viewers out there, these are children that I think we've seen. These children, they have a spinal cord problem, and a problem with their heads, and usually these children have poor bowel control. They cannot control the fecal matter and everything. So realize that this is a permanent medical condition. Someone is going to come from day one as a baby to 14 years as a teenager to a youthful person using these diapers all their lives. So she was explaining that to them this is not a luxury, because without them they cannot go about their lives as a normal person. You know, we define healthy living in ways of being able to work, being able to afford, and being able to afford your leisure activities. So for a person, in as much as they are grown up, as long as they cannot afford to freely go to work, to freely enjoy their leisure activities, and that means we are not talking about just luxury now. This is an essential. And in that press conference, this lady from the Chireka School of Children with such disabilities, she explained that these adult diapers have been at 2,500 to 3,000 shillings a diaper. But ever since the tax has been imposed, the diapers are now 4,000 shillings. That is an increment of 1,000. And when you look at our demographics, we are in a country whereby very few Ugandans, we have some Ugandans still living below the dollar. So if I am going to spend half of my earnings to buy a diaper for my child that is having this condition, what am I going to eat? How am I going to dress? How am I going to feed the rest? You know, so It is really not a luxury.
Okay.
It is a basic need.
It's a basic need. Solomon, do you agree with that? Shed a light on the unfairness of this tax.
Yes, it's a basic need, but we still find it discriminatory. One, because as we've said, it really affects the poor lady, because who cannot basically afford, like what Lorna said, $1 per day. So we basically find it that it encroaches on their ability to be able to provide. Because look at a situation where a lady, for example, in the press conference, they were telling us a child uses like 2 to 3 diapers a day. That is very costly on a person in a rural area who is not able to earn money and who doesn't have a proper source of income. But if you're in the urban setting, that's fair for you. You can be able to afford that. So we are looking at the sense that it's discriminatory, one, in the economic bits of it, but then two, we also still find it that we find it discriminatory, one, that it still affects what we term as a marginalized group of people, the ladies, but equally also the children that benefit out of it, because still even the Ministry of Health was telling, I was reading a report where Ministry of Health was saying that 1.5% out of the numbers of people that use these diapers are really affected. And that's a huge number. Actually, it was 1.5% of the ladies that use, and that's a huge number. We feel it's a huge number that really needs to be catered for, and it needs to be thought of, rather than basing this on terms of homosexuality, that it's homosexuals that are using these diapers, yet there are people that really need them every day because of their urinary issues that they have. Yes.
All right. Lorna, the gap between the ladies facing these challenges and their male counterparts, do you want to shed a light on that?
Yes. One of the fundamental aspirations of the women's rights movement is equality. We have strived so much to come this far to achieve equality with our male counterparts, because back then we were having a society whereby a woman was not allowed to work. We progressed. We were now allowed to work, but you're allowed to work, but you do not earn as much as the male people, because of your now maternity leave. Now you've taken days off, the baby is sick, so such things. So we've really made significant strides towards reducing and filling this gap. Now, when this diaper comes in, as I said, we have when you look at the health reports, 1 in 25 women of childbearing age, and we are many of those, suffers fistula after childbirth. So that means out of 100 women, 4 women are not going to be able to go back to work and go about their daily duties without these diapers. And what does that mean? The employment spaces are once again going to be dominated by the men. So it is widening a gap that we have been trying to narrow down all this while. Because once a woman is not able to go back to work, her economic status is affected, and then of course that leaves her for the unpaid care work at home. And when you look at that, you realize that even the confidence of this woman and their confidence in their societies and their impact that they have is really infringed upon. Because I do not think any of us would want to be in a society where they're not comfortable. No. Now, just imagine you're in a situation whereby you're seated with fellow ladies, for example, in a community meeting or village, and boom, the fecal matter is right there. Imagine the discrimination, imagine the stigma, the loss of confidence. So you realize that it is going to retard our women. And we are already living with the effects of the COVID-19. In COVID-19, we had so many teenage mothers giving birth. Now, these teenage girls, we also understand that once someone gives birth quite young, they are susceptible to these irreparable tears. So these girls won't even be able to go back to school. And before we know it, we're going to have more women out of school, more women unable to have their voices heard, and it is just going to emphasize and retard our progress towards ending gender discrimination.
Okay, so what's your take as an organization or as people fighting for the rights of women in this kind of thing? What is your take? What do you stand for?
At the Women's Pro Bono Initiative, we stand for gender equality and autonomy of women. We believe that women's voices need to be heard in every spaces, be it academic spaces, economic spaces, political spaces. So this is why we are standing for all those women, the women that are having children suffering from spina bifida, the women that actually need these diapers, the women that are caring for these people. We believe that their voices need to be heard, because we believe that in passing this tax, government did not take into consideration the voices of these women. We in passing the tax, a minority report was submitted to government, and it highlighted the importance, actually, the need of having these diapers untaxed. But Parliament, either way, went ahead to pass this tax without due regard to considerations of these women. And this is why we are fronting their voices. We believe their voices should be heard, because, as I said earlier, diapers are not a luxury.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you suing government? Is there a case that you're coming up with so that this tax can be scrapped off?
Yes, we've taken legal steps towards having this tax scrapped off, and our very first step, last week we filed a judicial review application, and in this judicial review we sought to move court to declare to renounce this tax on grounds of irrationality, because we believe that it was passed with unfairness, without taking proper consideration of the needs of the people that actually use these diapers. So we filed a judicial review application that we're hoping is going to be heard, and once this Parliament pronounces the irrationality of this decision of Parliament, then we'll have made progress towards having this.
Okay. Solomon, how can government support these women instead of bringing different taxes here and there? What should government do instead?
One, I feel government should consult the various stakeholders. When you look at this very issue, when you look at the Hansard, there were various organizations that came and advocated that no, do not put the tax. You're looking at the Uganda Medical Association. You're looking at the Uganda Lawyers, the Uganda Law Society, telling you that this tax is discriminative. But however, I feel the MPs did not listen that much. Maybe they didn't have that much awareness, but I feel that government next time should invite the more stakeholders, especially the female stakeholders on such matters, so that they get to listen to their voice and they get to hear what it means to be affected by such a tax, which is really high and really needs to be repealed or something like that. So government needs to work on that, and they also need to listen to more of other bodies than just the professional bodies, and also listening to just mere opinions from members of Parliament that do not have proper research and are just brought, I do not know from where. Yes.
Okay, and Lorna, what do you think government should do in this case?
Considering, as Adalia said, our health sector is already struggling. We have provision of the sexual reproductive health commodities very low as per now. So I think the government should move the Ministry of Health to come up with more inclusive measures, and to make, because when you look at the Maputo Protocol, and we in the women's rights movement, it's like a Bible, because it stipulates all these rights of women that we need to have. It says that a state has an obligation to provide affordable. So when you look at this this stipulation of this legislation, it is highlighting affordable. Now, affordable is a subjective word. It depends on the economics of the country. It depends on the GDP of the country and how every Ugandan earns per day. So I would really appeal to government to improve the already existing measures, because I'll commend them. We have measures, but they need a little touch-ups here and there. So I'd really move them to make this to make sexual reproductive health goods more affordable, and then also to as my colleague said, to invite stakeholders. You know, we in the women's rights movement, we believe that women are not homogeneous. We have different needs. You know, so a need of a woman like me is not going to be the same need of a woman living in, I'll say, Sorority, deep down there. So we have different needs, and government as an overall body, it is incumbent on them to factor in the needs of all these women. We have different needs as women. The needs of a 14-year-old are not the same needs of a 15-year-old teenage mother. So I think government needs to come up with more inclusive measures to factor in the needs of the various women.
Isn't it the doctors that have to come in and say, no, we can treat that, or we can help in some kind of way, the medical personnel?
Well, we've had doctors make a pronouncement on some of these conditions. They are permanent. Look at spina bifida. It is permanent injury on your spinal cord. What they can do is to help you contain. They help you contain, they give you tabs here and there, but it is not going away. This is a health condition that you do not wake up to choose one day. So I think the medics and the doctors have done their part. Because in this minority report, they stipulated all these reasons. But I think, as I earlier said, they were not taken into consideration as they were supposed to be.
Okay. Thank you. We're still discussing the tax increment on the adult diapers, on the diapers in general, actually, that government passed recently, that Parliament passed recently, and we are getting to understand how it's going to affect the women in different ways, and also, of course, how exactly we should handle the matter, or what should government have done instead of increasing the tax. What are some of the fields that government can increase taxes on and not affect the women instead? And my name is Carol. We are going to take a very short break. We will return with more about this topic. Don't go away. And luxury at its best, it is Protea Hotel by Marriott. I'm still with Lorna Nagawa, a legal officer, and Solomon Chisache, a legal officer from the Women Pro Bono Initiative.
Yes.
And we are discussing some women's rights here and there, and seeing how the tax increment on diapers is going to affect these women who cannot afford the diapers. First of all, you know, we live in a community where not everybody is equal. Some people can afford them. Some people can afford a diaper at 4,000 shillings, but other people cannot afford it, and actually the majority cannot afford it. Am I right?
True. That's
so
very true.
what exactly are we going to do about that? How are we going to fight the fact that these taxes are going to be very, very a burden to the women in our society? So we're discussing that, and I'm going to start with Lorna and ask about the caretakers, the people who take care of the people in this situation. What are they going through? How are they managing? And what help do they need?
Thank you, Carol. So last week at our press conference, we hosted a lady that takes care of these children with spina bifida, as I earlier said, the neurotube issues and poor bowel control. Now she's explaining that parents that are usually away on for work, they bring these children for them to watch them as the parents are away. But the major problem that they've since the imposition of these taxes, a parent would leave a certain sum of money for the diapers. Assume because previously they would use like 3 to 4 diapers in a day, so the parent would leave money for those. But right now, instead of buying the 4 diapers, they're going to have to buy 2. And then she was explaining that many of the parents are complaining, they're like, you're stealing our money and all this. And then the caretakers need to wash more, because instead, if you cannot use the diaper, you need to use the traditional nappies. And your woman as well, Carrie, I think you can testify how hectic it is to wash them clean. So it is really affecting them. Many of these caretakers are being demotivated at work. Many of them are abandoning the job. And to make matters worse, the parents of these children do not also have time for them. And then this tax is further burdening the available people to take care of these children. And what is going to happen to them? You know, the posterity of our nation is dependent on the welfare of these children. So what is going to happen to these children if they're not able now to go about their lives as normal human beings, go to school, interact freely? It's really going to affect them, because the caretakers are actually pulling out of the task.
Okay. Solomon, you want to add something?
Yes, you are still with the implications on the people taking care. One, you're looking at the time commitment. You really have to give them time and focus on people who use these adult diapers. And then you're also looking at the emotional stress that comes with it as you take care of this person, because it's draining. It can physically drain you as a person. And then you also look at the health risks that come with this. For example, you're very vulnerable. You can easily get diseases that come out of taking care of such a person, because you're at high exposure to their urinary infections and other diseases that come with it. So it's and also the financial burden that also comes with taking, just as Lorna said, that comes with taking care of such a person. It's really high. So those are basically the implications that come with it.
Okay, Lorna, why did you decide to take the path of a judicial review?
We decided to take on a judicial review to find a remedy in this case, because number one, for a quick remedy. You know, when you look at the processes of law, they are famous for taking long. People file cases, they take years, but for a judicial review, we're expecting a quicker remedy, because it is a process that reviews, looks at, revises a decision of a certain decision-making body, and then makes immediate recommendations, because we realize that we need urgent action. As I said, these are not luxuries. It's not something we'll sit back and probably return to do next year. We need immediate action. That is why we took a judicial review for quick remedy.
Okay. There are different sectors of our society. We have minerals, we have oil and gas, we have textile, we have very many. Which sectors do you think government should increase taxes on rather than increasing them on diapers, on things that really affect the everyday person?
Thank you, Carol. So speaking as a women's rights activist, I believe that the health of a human being is something that should not be compromised. You know, we all have a fundamental right to life, and this right is not something that the state can choose to give you on some days and then choose to take it away. No, it is inherent, it is yours, and you are not supposed to fibble to get it. So realize that the right to affordable health, it is in a way a right to life. So things like things that are concerning the right and healthy living of women, especially women, the mothers of this nation, should not be compromised. You know, and besides, we are recovering from the effects of the lockdown, so we should give ourselves a chance to heal. But in all that, we should not compromise on the health and sexual reproductive rights for the women. Okay.
You had recently the Reject Adult Diaper Tax campaign.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
So in our Reject Adult Tax campaign, Adult Diaper Tax campaign, we were running a social media campaign on our socials, on our Twitter. We invited a Queen's Conference, other civil society organizations, and we discussed what we're discussing here today. We told them how this tax is being unfair, how it is affecting women, specifically women, because I must say that many Ugandans out there do not even know of these adult diapers. They don't even know which people use them. They're like, oh, probably it's a luxury. But in this campaign, we've been able to achieve attention of the public, because we are now we've created awareness on the use of these adult diapers. They are used by women that are suffering from fistula, and realize that these diapers are doing a great job, that very few people know that, hey, someone with fistula uses diapers. That means they're actually working.
Yeah.
I mean, they are padding and protecting these women.
Wow.
And we also were able to make the people of Uganda know that 33.3% of the births in Uganda are of children with neurotube issues. So, and these neurotube issues, spinal cord issues, someone cannot control their fecal matter, and you know, it's all a mess just in there. And these are permanent conditions. You know, something, this person as a baby, as a teenager, they're going to have to use these diapers for life. So very many people didn't know about this. So by this, we've really created awareness, and it is a satisfying achievement that Ugandans now know who uses these diapers. Because most of them actually thought, they're just, you know. But now that we know how they're affecting us and women in general, I think we've made some progressive achievements.
Solomon, anything to add on the Reject Adult Diaper Tax campaign?
Yes, I just call upon people to join us. Just as Lorna has given you a proper insight of what our campaign is and how it's running on our socials. So I just call upon all advocacy groups, women, especially the ones for women, all the advocacy groups, and anyone that has an interest. I am a man, but I am here advocating for female diapers, adult diapers. So anyone that has an interest in seeing the well-being of a lady or a child that uses these diapers.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to end with what happens if the government does, if you don't get what you're looking for in reporting this case. What happens then? Okay,
so if the High Court decides not to grant us what we need, we shall try all the legal methods that exist. So we shall appeal and go to a higher court body, and that is the Court of Appeal, and we shall seek the appellate court, which is that court, the Court of Appeal, to possibly reverse the decision passed by the lower court, that is the High Court, or to equally stand with us and make a proper decision with regards to what we're advocating for, as long as we give them our insights and all our proper reasons in court during the sessions. But equally, still we shall call upon, and we shall still call upon all the advocacy groups to join us, so that we amplify the voice with regards to this matter, so that a court can know, the parliament as well can know, and equally the executive as well, where the implementers are, they can know that it's really crucial to scrap off this tax.
Okay.
Yes.
Lorna, what happens when you're not helped?
You know, our legal system, I would say that it's a creative one, once again. So if you do not find what you're looking for here, you can try other ways. And at Women's Pro Bono, we prioritize creative lawyering. You know, a kind of a technique of lawyering where you get quick results when you need them by going through the proper methods. So in case this judicial review is not considered according to our aspirations, then we'll move on to the Constitutional Court for a constitutional petition, because as I said, this is a right to health that is being infringed upon, which is complementary to the right to life. So we will move and we will challenge this amendment, and we believe Ugandans will get a remedy.
Okay, Solomon, any last words?
Yes, I call upon every Ugandan and everyone watching us to join us in this campaign. It affects all the ladies, especially those with the urinary issues, and the children as well. So I call upon all the Ugandans, all the advocacy groups that have crucial interest in such matters, and then also the men as well, to join this, because we as men, we get married, we have mothers, we have sisters, so I call upon them to join in this movement, and also in our online campaign to make sure that this tax is scrapped, so that our voice is heard.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Lorna, any last words?
Having called upon the men to join this movement, I'd like to add something to that. You know, we get to think that issues of women are just not a priority. They are often trivialized in our country. So my reason for inviting the men to this campaign is they're actually going to be affected as well as fathers. You know, our society has ascribed roles according to gender. Now men are the providers. Now imagine you're having to buy a diaper for your old mom, and then for your wife that has suffered an irreparable tear, and then also for your baby that has been a bifida. So surely it also has grave consequences on the men. So that's why I would actually invite them to join. I would actually appreciate men that are willing to share experiences, because we believe that there are men that actually have experiences with these people, and we would really invite such opinions. And then also we will call upon the judiciary of Uganda. We believe that it is an appropriate forum for us for Ugandans to get justice, to have a fair tax justice system. We also call upon the various stakeholders, URA, we believe that we need to sit on a round table and discuss these things. You know, we believe that they can find other ways of increasing our finances without necessarily trivializing the issues of women. The Ministry of Finance, we believe that they can also have our voices considered and heard. So basically, we just call upon every Ugandan because this affects us all.
All right. Thank you so much, Lorna and Solomon, for that insightful discussion. We hope that this issue is worked upon immediately or as soon as possible so that the women can go back to being happy and confident in who they are. My name is Nowamani. Thank you so much for being a part of Issues at Hand. I'll be here tomorrow, same time, same station. Bye-bye.